Oh, hi, I'm Jermaine. I am the host of the Main No Doubt Show. I'm glad you're here with me today. I'm always glad you guys are here with me today. Now, um, I have run across some things over the last week, and I have just been able to express some different points. And one of the biggest points that came up was the matter of people wasting time. You know, I mean, I think I've actually said this before, but I know that you know, in the midst of a lot of things, we get caught up in our daily lives, and we, think that we're making time. We are usually in a rush most of the time, and sometimes people don't really understand how valuable time is. So that's one of the things that I want to address. And then the other one is about force, because some people like to force a lot of situations in which, you know, it may not be favorable if you do so. And if there's something else, we get in contact with that in the midst of the show. So um, one of the things I like to say is that we um, here, as we approach each day, we believe that we have a lot of time to work with, a lot of time to play with, in which sometimes we do. We get caught up in the things that we do, and we play it sometimes a little too much. So um, the things that we do in between time, we waste time on accomplishing goals and stuff like that. If we do not, take our time seriously, we on a day-to-day basis, we kind of, you know, take things for granted. I mean, we go out here every day, we work, and we take care of our families or whatever, and in the midst of that, we kind of lose touch of what can be really important. I mean, you take care of your family to the best of your ability, but if you're in a rush, that's not going to be as great either, because you're not really spending the quality time with your family like you really could. Now, we have people that is associated with us every day, and if those people are not going to benefit you as far as you making advancements and stuff like that, then that's them wasting time. They're wasting your time as well as you're wasting your own time. So it'll be great if everyone put some emphasis on the time that they have, and utilize their time to the best of their ability. Now, some people, as we look a little bit deeper into the situation, is as far as wasting time, people lie, just to fill in the gaps. And when people lie to fill in gaps, they actually waste your time also, because they could put you into a frenzy, or have you running around, trying to figure things out because of the lie that they told, which may not even be, you know, you know, a help to you. It may seem like it's a help, because some of the lies, are really good and they sound good, but they don't keep you on track with the goal that you set. So you hope that you don't waste time in that aspect. And then, you know, um, as far as people, you know, some people just, you know, don't know how to stop telling lies. So we're gonna, twist this in between wasting time and telling lies, because sometimes those lies have to, uh, stack. You have to stack lies on top of lies, and you have to remember those lies. And sometimes remembering lies, can get you caught up, and it can get you to a point where you may not be able to recover, from um, something that may be very special to you. So, you know, some people have grown to believe the lies that they tell, but then some people can't even remember the lies that they tell, but they tell so many lies that they get confused. So even at that point, people still are wasting time, and that's not going to be good for any future events or causes, because a lot of people lose trust in people who um, you know waste time, or lie. So I mean, wasting time is one thing. Is like, when you have something to do, and when you have a tendency to, sit down and engage in things that's not relevant, then you will find yourself, in a point where um, you have missed out on time that you could have been dedicating towards something else. Now, a lot of people uh, really think it's nothing, but other people, when you're dealing with other people, they're counting on you, and when they're counting on you, you know you have to make sure that you keep up to your end of the deal. And when you're not keeping up to your end of the deal, you're actually wasting another person's time. You may be wasting a lot of people's time, because it may be a group of people that's counting on you to hold up to your end of the deal. So it will be very good if people will pace themselves and understand that they don't need to, you know, tell lies. They don't need to procrastinate, to, put everybody else on hold because they don't find or feel like, whatever is going on is important. So it would be good if people stay on track and not waste time. Now, um, as far as um, force, I know that, force, you can use physical force in a lot of situations. I mean, physical force would get you, things moved, or, you know, um, achieving um, big goals as far as, assembling things and stuff like that. I mean, force can be good, you know, but sometimes force can be bad. And sometimes when force is applied in areas that's not necessary, then people have a tendency to do the opposite, the complete opposite of what you may be looking for. Now, I know that it may seem beneficial for people to try to force people to believe the way they believe, and it seemed like it would be a great thing. But you can't get someone to believe the way you believe, because that's the only way you think something should be. Now, if you have any thought in the processes of, I can get a person to do my job for me. Just this is an example. I could get somebody to do my job for me, and if I can persuade them or feed them a thought, to get them to do what I want them to do, then I wouldn't have to do my own job. And that's the way a lot of people bag out of things. They will try to suck you in so that they can basically force you to do things their way. Now, by chance, when people do things like this, it really makes things difficult because people are not really seeing eye to eye. I mean, you seeing it's almost like having a monocular vision, or seeing with one point of view. Now, when you believe that everybody should see things your way, you have actually unbalanced the scales. See, some people believe that the scales are balanced as long as everybody believes the way that they believe. And some people believe that everybody should believe the same way. Now, forcing people to do things and forcing people to take on projects of your own or anything like that, and you really haven't considered whether or not people really want to be engaged in your activities. Some of them are okay, but when you're talking about long-term obligation, forcing people to do things that wasn't part of the makeup, it actually makes for bad rapport in the future. Now, if you want to keep a good rapport with people, it's very important that you know how to first engage in conversation. And then if you're engaging in healthy conversation without thinking that, somebody has to, accommodate, not just the way you believe, but your emotions and the things that you set out for. Nobody should have to completely, agree with, the things that you're involved in. Some people just inundate themselves with too many things, and they just force themselves into these situations. But then they get angry because you will not be a part of their cluster. See, because they cluster so many different things together, they get angry. Then they try to force their excess over onto you, in which you may have a cluster of things that you may have to do. And then, therefore, you may not accomplish the goals that you have set forth. So you really have to pay attention to the things that people do and how things are done. Now, you don't necessarily have to force people to do things. It's all about strategy, the way things are applied. And if you apply things the right way, you definitely wouldn't have to force anything upon people. See, if you speak in a manner in which people can comprehend the things that you're trying to get across, they are more willing to accept the things that you want to do. They are more willing to accept, taking on some of your burden if you show them the type of respect in the conversation that you may be having. Therefore, you're not wasting time. You may actually accomplish, having extra time if you engage in these healthy conversations. Now, we we believe that we can make people do things. You know, we can't make people do anything. You know, people are sometimes selective. Some people really just don't want to do anything in life. Some people just don't want to accomplish anything in life, and you can't force that. You have to be the person that knows how to go beyond the means of force, and you got to know how to be rational instead of irrational. Because I mean, I know just by, like I say, I was having a conversation, and people believe that you can change people, by making them do things a certain way. You really cannot change people that way. You really got to understand that you just can't change people. You can't, and you can't force them to change. If anybody's going to change, they have to want to change on their own. That's something that they have to have a drive for within themselves, because that's the only way things will ever change. So it's up to everybody to just, dig within themselves, find out what's important, and you change what you can about yourself. Once you change what you can about yourself, then you'll be able to help a lot more people. So, as for the things that we go through on a daily basis, it is very important that we don't waste people's time. It's very important that we don't force people to do things that they may not want to do. And most importantly, don't use lies to compensate for a lot of other things that you possibly should be doing on your own. Or, like I said, or those things that you may lack. Because lies, they hurt even though they don't seem like they hurt, even though they may be little white lies. But I really appreciate you guys being with me, and I hope you enjoyed the show today. And if you have any comments, you can contact me at enjoyyourlife4313@gmail.com. I really thank you guys for being with me today, and I hope you enjoyed the show.